Good morning, everyone. Oh, shit. Hold on a minute. My mic's not working. Oh, there we go. Okay. Good morning, everybody. How are you guys? I hope you guys are good. Sorry about that. My mic was not working. I had to fix it. So, yes, I'm glad to see you all. It's been a long time since I had you here on a Sunday. So, let me just say hi to everybody real quick. Princess Megan, Sugar, Lazy Llama, Marie, Selena, Mark, Mary Thomas, Mom First Always. How are you guys? I hope you guys are having an awesome day. Hoping for answers. Hello. I don't want to miss anybody. Okay. So how are you guys? I'm glad you're here with me this morning. Good morning, CY Kyle. All right, now I want to talk today about Lindsay Clancy. She was a Massachusetts mother who unalived her 2 children, and her third one, her 8-month-old baby, was sent to the hospital and a couple days later was pronounced dead. Now, it is being told that she suffered from postpartum psychosis, and the dad left. He went to go get food. He went to go pick up dinner, and he was gone 25 minutes. And when he came back, his 5-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son were found unalive. And the 8-month-old was flown to the hospital, flown to Boston Children's Medical Center. And the wife jumped out of the second-story window, allegedly trying to end her own life. And all of that was while the dad stepped out to go pick up food. This just happened 3 or 4 days ago. Now, I want to talk about a few things, okay? I know that postpartum depression happens, right? Now, then after postpartum depression, you have postpartum psychosis, which is it's a lot worse than postpartum depression. They say it affects 1 to 2 of every 1,000 mothers, okay? Now, it is being said that she had made a Facebook post back in July about being depressed and struggling with, her children or whatever, struggling with her feelings. That post is not there. It has been removed. You cannot find it, but it is reported that she made one back in July. It also just came out at the vigil that they had for the children that she was in a 5-day-a-week therapy session for postpartum PPP, postpartum psychosis. Now, I have a couple of things, but I'm going to read you guys the story first. I'm going to pull it up, and we're going to go over a few things, and then I'm going to get into the discussion about, what's what. I don't either, hoping for answers, and we're going to get into that. So let me pull up this first thing. Oh, what is this? Okay. This did this to me earlier. What? Hold on a minute. Get out of here. Okay. Massachusetts mom Lindsay Clancy arrest warrant reveals 8 counts for allegedly strangling her children. The incident happened in Duxbury, Massachusetts home where first responders found the children unconscious and with obvious signs of trauma. The arrest warrant for a Massachusetts, and she was a nurse at Massachusetts General Hospital. Like, she was a nurse, okay? I don't understand how all of these people in her life, could see that she had these issues, but she was left alone with her children. Like, I just can't comprehend that in my brain. So let's get into this, okay? So the arrest warrant for a Massachusetts nurse who's accused of strangling her 3 young children before attempting to take her own life includes 2 counts of murder, 3 counts of strangulation or suffocation, and 3 counts of assault and battery with a deadly weapon. Lindsay Clancy, 32. Now this is her and her 2 older kids and her husband. She remains in the hospital and will be arraigned as soon as possible, Plymouth District Attorney Tim Cruz said during a press conference on Wednesday. 2 of the 3 children, Cora Clancy, 5, and Dawson Clancy, 3, died. The attack's sole survivor, a 7-month-old infant boy, remains in critical condition in a Boston hospital. He did die on Friday, and that's so sad. The children were found unconscious with obvious signs of trauma in the Clancy's Duxbury home after her husband's 911 call for medical help. There was speculation based off recent Facebook posts that Clancy suffered from postpartum depression, but Cruz declined to say if this was a contributing factor. The Plymouth District Attorney's Office and the Duxbury Police have responded to requests for updates on the health of Clancy or her youngest son. The tragedy has left the entire community shaken, including the first responders who were on scene. DA Cruz alluded to the emotional toll that the scene took on everyone who was at the house that day. Duxbury Fire Chief Robert Reardon and Deputy Chief Brian Monahan issued a joint statement that urged responders to reach out if they're having trouble coping. Tragedies like these are always difficult to comprehend and process. We are all left struggling with many emotions. Please know that all public safety personnel have been offered and will continue to be offered needed support. Reardon tweeted, on behalf of the entire Duxbury Fire Department, our thoughts and prayers are with the victims of this tragic event, their family members, and all the members of our public safety community who responded. The Wareham Fire Department showed their love for the Clancy family, the 2 young children who died, and their fellow first responders by adding to a memorial of flowers and stuffed animals. Now, this was written before, obviously, the baby had passed. Chief John Kelly and Engine 5 traveled to Duxbury Fire to provide station coverage. Members attended the candlelight vigil, which was held to offer prayers for the Clancy family. Tonight, we support Duxbury Fire during this time of grief and heartache. Clancy is a labor and delivery nurse at Massachusetts General Hospital, which issued a statement to the media on Tuesday. We are shocked and saddened to learn of this unthinkable tragedy. Michael Morrison, the Senior Director of External Communications, said, we extend our deepest sympathies to all those affected by these devastating events. Now, in another article that I'm going to read, it states that she was on leave from her job. It didn't say how long she was on leave for. It doesn't say why she was on leave. But it did say that she was on leave. Now, her son is 7 months old, so she hasn't been on leave since he was born. She's not on maternity leave, right? Hold on a second. Hey, Jackie. So you think that a lot more people in her life would have noticed that she was having these problems. You think a lot more people in her life would have stepped forward and said, listen, because there are symptoms to postpartum psychosis. There are symptoms. Now, usually, and I'm going to read this to you from an article, usually postpartum happens within days up to a few weeks after a child is born. Okay. Now this baby is 7 months old. Do we know that she's had problems all these 7 months? We don't know. All we have is the say so that she made a Facebook post back in July, dealing with depression. Again, that post has not been seen. It has been removed from her account. You cannot see it. So I'm not sure, but and I'm not saying this because that father will never be the same. He went out for dinner. He went out to pick up food for his family. He came home. All of his children are gone. His wife was, tried to be gone. I mean, that's crazy. You go pick up food, you come back, your whole life is ruined. Everything, it's over. A lot of people don't understand PPD. My daughter had it after her first baby. I've never known anybody who had it, or I've never experienced it myself. Thank God. But I've read a lot about it since this story came out. And not for nothing, but I really wonder, because a lot of people have tried to use this as an excuse when they've committed such a crime. So I'm just very skeptical, and I'm not saying that to be an a-hole. I'm just saying that I get skeptical of these things because so many people have tried to use this mental disorder as a reason for doing what they did. Okay? So I'm not saying she doesn't have it, but I do question it. And I question how she could be a labor and delivery nurse, be around all of these doctors all day, and nobody, you know what I mean? Like, there was nobody who was like, okay, maybe she shouldn't be around children. Like, she needs to be in an inpatient facility until she can get, because you can treat it. Postpartum psychosis is treatable with therapy and medication. So why was she not admitted into an in-person care facility? That's my thing. If it was that bad, you know what I mean? Why wasn't she admitted? Why was she able to be home with her children every day? Now, her husband did well, according to the articles that I've read, and I'm going to pull up more. We're going to read into it. But according to the articles that I have read, the husband is working remotely from home. I don't know where he works, but he did say thank you to the Microsoft team. So I don't know if he works for Microsoft or if, what the deal is there. But all it said was he was taking and working remotely from home so he could be with the kids and be with her during this time. Now, I haven't read that anywhere, Hoping for Answers. Hoping for Answers said she was waiting for an inpatient bed. I have not read that anywhere in any of the articles that I have read, but that could be true. Didn't she try to jump out the window, or did jump out the window to try and unalive herself? Okay, yeah, he does work for Microsoft. But anyway, back to this. Sugar. Yeah, she did jump out the window. Now, I'm going to say something, and I don't want anybody to take it the wrong way, but you know that I try to question everything and I look at it from every angle, okay? Now, she jumped out of a second-story window. She doesn't live in a mansion, okay? So, I mean, not for nothing, but if you jump out of your second-story window, there's a good chance that you're going to survive that fall, okay? There is a good chance that you are going to survive that fall. Now, could she have jumped? If this, because there's a lot of people debating this. There's a lot of people debating whether or not she actually had this mental disorder, or if she had just was like had enough, didn't want to do it anymore, and premeditated this thing. Like, it's just odd that the husband goes to pick up dinner and she's got 20 minutes. And in those 20 minutes, she's like, all right, now's the time. I'm going to go after all my kids. So the timing is very odd to me. But could she have, now I'm not saying this, so don't get angry at me. I'm just looking at this from every angle. Okay. If this was premeditated, if she had done this and she was like, now, if I jump out the window and say that I tried to end my life, that's going to make it look like that's going to be even more evidence that I have a mental disorder. But there's, like I said, because there's a very good chance that if you jump out and you don't live in a mansion, if you jump out of your second-story window, that you're going to survive the fall. That's all I'm saying. If she really wanted to end her life, there were other ways. You know what I mean? Like, you just ended your children's life. There were other ways to make sure that you ended your own. That's all I'm saying. All right. What did I wrote a bunch of stuff down last night. But we'll get into all of this. You know, they say that people that have postpartum psychosis, there's a 4%, there's a 5% chance of suicide, but there is a 4% chance of harming one of your children. Okay. And it's weird that she had made that post way back in July about being depressed that we cannot find, that we cannot see. It is gone. But every other post that she makes is her and her husband and her kids, like they're one big happy family. She says that she's so lucky to have this beautiful family that she has, you know, just going on and on and on about it, looking like a normal family. And then to next thing you know, everybody's gone. So there are a few things here that just make me very skeptical. Okay. Now, another thing. Now, I'm not getting on the husband because, like I said, his life will never be the same. He will never recover. He will never recover from this, ever. Like his kids are all gone. He'll never recover from this. Okay. But what I am saying is if he knew it was really that bad, if she was really in that bad of a state, then why would he have gone out to go pick up dinner by himself? You know, why not get everybody in the car to go? You know, why trust her and leave her at home with the kids if you knew that it was really that bad? Now, again, I'm not trying to bash him because, like I said, I feel for him. He is going to be messed up for the rest of his life. Okay. I get that. I'm just questioning whether or not this case is a legit case of PPP. That's all I'm trying to say, okay? So don't get mad at me, anybody. All right. And why not call someone? Why not get her help? Why not get her into any kind of inpatient program? Like they couldn't all be full, right? They can't all be full. There had to be an open bed somewhere. All right, so let's pull up this next article. Massachusetts mom Lindsay Clancy shared postpartum anxiety battles before allegedly killing her children. All right, let me mute myself. Okay, guess I didn't need to mute myself for that. I thought it was going to be a video. But I'll let it play. Okay, so let me. The Massachusetts mom accused of strangling her two young kids and trying to kill her infant before jumping out a window had revealed online months earlier that she was struggling with her mental health after giving birth. Now, again, that was 7 months ago that she had this baby. So if she had these problems back then, why didn't anybody get her into a facility? In 7 months, you're telling me there was no open beds anywhere that would have took her? Especially if you really thought she was a danger to her family. Like, I just can't. All right. Lindsay Clancy, 32, opened up about her battle with postpartum anxiety on Facebook in July, months before the shocking violence at her home. 6 weeks after the birth of her third child, the mom of three shared another post about how she felt dialed in again. She said she was focusing on exercise, nutrition, and her mindset, noting it has made all the difference. Now, let me tell you this, okay? So, she opened up about her postpartum anxiety on Facebook, okay? Months before the shocking violence at her home. Okay, 6 weeks after the birth of her child, her third child, she told in another post that she felt good again. She felt normal again. She felt dialed in again. She said she was focusing on exercise, nutrition, and her mindset, and it made all the difference in the world, okay? But yet this happened. The post is not visible publicly on the Facebook page. Clancy, a labor and delivery nurse at Massachusetts General Hospital, allegedly killed her daughter Cora 5 and her son Dawson 3 and tried to kill her 8-month-old son. She remains hospitalized after jumping out a second-floor window at her Summer Street home about 35 miles southeast of Boston in what authorities said was an attempted suicide. Clancy faces 2 counts of murder, 3 counts of strangulation or suffocation, and 3 counts of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. Cora and Dawson were pronounced unalive at a hospital, while the infant boy, who turned 8 months old on Thursday, was flown to Boston Children's Hospital, where he remains hospitalized. I cannot begin to fathom the pain, the depths of pain the family must be feeling. We are shocked and saddened to learn of this unthinkable tragedy, Mass General said in a statement. Clancy, who graduated from Lyman Hall High School in Wallingford, Connecticut, and Patrick were married in 2016 in Southington, Connecticut. She earned a biology degree from university in 2012 and holds a bachelor's degree in nursing. In her yearbook profile, Clancy wrote that life is messy sometimes. No matter how hard you fight it, you fall. And it's scary, except there's an upside to free falling. It's the chance you give your friends to catch you. In 2018, the couple bought their home at 47 Summer Street for $500,000, according to town records. Clancy appeared online to be a doting mom who was living an idyllic life in the suburban community. I feel like the luckiest mama in the whole wide world, she wrote. In a later post, she said, so unbelievably thankful for this family and life. On Wednesday, an SUV parked outside the home had a baby on board sticker affixed on the back window. Clancy's father-in-law, Christopher Clancy, declined to comment. Residents expressed their shock about the deaths and the charges against their neighbor. It's very sad. It's sort of like, how can this happen around here? Especially for the baby, and prayers for what she was going through to actually do this. I mean, it's so hard to say, but like I said, I just find it very difficult. I just find it very difficult that she was going through all of this. I mean, she had even posted herself that she was better. She was dialed in again. She was doing all of these things that were really helping her. And then this happens. Karma. That's exactly what I was going to say. And that's what I'm going to bring up in a little while. It doesn't happen like that. Now, even if she had a lot of issues mentally before, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just very skeptical of people who use this as an excuse for unaliving your children. Because not for nothing, but she could have premeditated this. She was like, this is my only chance. He's gone to get dinner. Like, I have to do it right now. This is the only window I've gotten. So I got to do it now. And she took that opportunity and she did it. Now, if she goes to trial for this, and they're obviously going to use that as her defense, right? Mental disease or defect. She was suffering from PPP. She was not She should not be found guilty for what she has done. Now, that's where I have a problem, because I don't care. If you have a mental disorder, you have a mental disorder, but you're making all these posts about how beautiful your life is, how you have this awesome family, how you're, basically this ideal mother in this ideal suburban community, and everything is fine. You got this great life. Your husband goes to pick up dinner, and then you just kill all your children. Like, that's not, she did not die. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, that to me is a thing, because there's so many ways in that house that she could have ended her life if she really was suicidal. There's so many other ways she could have done it, but she jumped out of a second-story window. Now, like I said, you just saw a picture of her house. There's a very good chance that jumping out of that second-story window that you're going to live. There's a very good chance that jumping out of that window is not going to kill you. So could she have been, well, I got to make this look good. If I jump out the window and, they're going to think I tried to kill myself, then they're really going to think I got this mental disease. No, she is in the hospital under police, So I'm just saying that because nothing would piss me off more than a lady who killed her kids and gets away with it because she wants to claim, mental disease or defect. Now, I'm not saying that it's not real, because I understand that it is real, but we don't know that it's real in this case. Unless you have experienced PPD, you would know how devastating it can be. There is no timeline or how long or how bad a case one has. Please do not judge. And again, if you just came in, I said this a little while ago. I said I am not judging. I'm just looking at this from every angle, going off of the facts that we currently have right now. Can somebody give Glitched give them a quick thing on what's going on? All right, now, the husband came out yesterday and made a statement, and I will get into reading that. But he says, my wife has a condition that had worsened as time went on, and he asked the public to forgive her as he has. Now, again, if your wife has had this condition for some time and it just continued to get worse, nobody thought that it was bad enough where they had to step in, remove her from the home, and actually put her into a facility where she could get the care she needed. So, okay, sorry, I was just reading what I wrote. Now, here is one thing that I want to say. Now, he is obviously talking about, well, I have forgiven my wife, she is sick. The public needs to forgive her too. See, this is where I have the thing, because you come home, right? You've got dinner. You just picked up takeout. You come home. You go and first he saw his wife obviously laying on the ground. That's what he saw first. He saw his wife. He called 911. He thought at that point she had just harmed herself. When 911 got there, the cops went inside and they found the children. They found the 5-year-old and the 3-year-old unalive. And they found the baby, who was barely alive, and and the baby was flown to a hospital. Okay. But how, your children are gone. How are you preaching forgiveness already? Like, the only thing I can think is that he feels really guilty inside because he knew something was wrong with his wife, and he thought that he could do it on his own. He thought that him being home all the time, nothing like this would happen. That's the only thing I could think. But him forgiving his wife, I just don't understand that, and I can't comprehend that in my brain because listen, your wife is your wife, but your kids are your kids, and your kids are gone now. They're never coming back. You know what I mean? So to be able to forgive your wife so quickly kind of raises a red flag in my head. Because even if you loved your wife, like that would still be a struggle, I feel like. I feel like that you would be struggling within yourself to forgive your wife, right? Like I know that would be in my case. Like I don't if it were reversed and I came home and my husband had did that, there is no forgiveness here. Like don't ever expect forgiveness from me. My children are gone. But I just think for him to be able, like, yeah, I forgive her. And I think that, people should forgive her too. I think it's a little too soon to be able to say that kind of stuff. So to me, it sends up a red flag in my head, you know? And that's just my personal opinion. But he says, I hope everyone will find it deep within themselves to forgive Lindsay as I have. Now, did she really suffer from postpartum psychosis? Was this really a delusional thing in her head? It was not a planned thing. Or was this something totally different and people just aren't looking at it that way? Okay. Now let me Yes, it did say that she was going to therapy 5 days a week. But again, I'm going to throw this out there again. If it was that bad and she was going to therapy, and now we don't know that for a fact. Somebody, a family member or a neighbor, somebody at the vigil said that she was going to therapy 5 days a week. Okay. Now, if it was that bad where she needed to go to therapy every day, Monday through Friday, then you would not be leaving her at home alone with your children. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You would not leave if you knew your wife had these issues and it was so bad that she was going to therapy every day, Monday through Friday. You would not feel comfortable even going out, even going next door to the neighbor's house and leaving her in that home with those children. Right? I mean, am I right on that? Because that's crazy to me. So, this is another red flag that pops up in my head. He felt comfortable enough to leave for 25 minutes to go pick up dinner. So, my question is, was she really as bad as they're claiming now? Or is this an excuse for what? For the horrible, horrible things that she did? It just doesn't make sense to me. Okay. Now let's pull up this next thing. Yes, everybody, please take a minute if you have not done so to please hit that thumbs up. Please consider subbing to the channel. It's a free way to help out the channel. Infant dies 3 days after mom allegedly strangled brother and sister to death and jumped out of a second-story window. A Massachusetts mother of 3 now stands accused of killing every one of her children by strangling them to death. Okay. Lindsay M. Clancy, 32, was previously arrested on 2 counts of murder after she strangled and killed her 5-year-old daughter and 3-year-old son. Okay. Now, law enforcement arrived on the day in question because Lindsay Clancy had attempted to kill herself by jumping out of an upstairs window. Now, again, I will just say this real quick. She did not live in a mansion. So, again, jumping out of the second story window, I mean, go to your second story window and look down. There's a really good chance that you're going to survive that jump. Okay. She was hospitalized under the guard of police due to the charges that were filed against her. She is being treated for cuts to her wrists and neck. The 2 children were found dead Tuesday in response to a 911 call from her husband after she leaped from the second story and hurt herself. Her 7-month-old son, Callan Clancy, who actually just turned 8 months on Thursday, this last Thursday, as he was in the hospital, survived the attack and remained hospitalized, clinging to life for 3 days. He died Friday. At approximately 12:30 p.m., the state office of the chief medical examiner contacted Massachusetts State Police assigned to our office to report that at 11:18 a.m. on Friday, the 3rd Clancy child was pronounced deceased at Children's Hospital in Boston. In incidents like this, there are usually more questions than answers, Cruz said at a news conference on Wednesday. We aren't here to presume motives. This is an unimaginable, senseless tragedy, and it is an ongoing investigation. Officers discovered all 3 children unconscious with obvious signs of severe trauma. Tragedies like these are always difficult to comprehend and process. We may be left struggling with many emotions. An arrest warrant obtained by Boston-based Fox affiliate WFXT outlines 8 charges against Lindsay Clancy, including 2 counts of murder, 3 counts of strangulation or suffocation, and 3 counts of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. Now, let me pause before I go any farther. Just take a look at what is happening right now as she is in the hospital, okay? Her husband is pleading with everybody to forgive her. Her husband is claiming that he has forgiven her, so everybody else should, okay? It's come out that she made a Facebook post back in July, but again, the post is not visibly seen. Nobody can see it. She is supposedly, according to a neighbor, going to therapy 5 days a week. And now we're talking about these struggles that she has supposedly had over the last how long, even though she said in her own words that she was better. She was, everything was back to normal. She was dialed in again. She was exercising. She was doing all these things for herself, and it was helping. And then, all this is happening since this story broke, which to me is a plea to the public saying, feel sorry for her. Don't be angry at her. Feel sorry for her. She is sick. This was not her fault, which again, and I'm not stating this as fact, but again, if this goes to trial, that is exactly what her lawyer is going to say, is that she pleads not guilty due to mental disease or defect. They might even say she's not fit to stand trial. And she could get a couple years in a mental health facility for this, and that's it. Which again, we don't even know that, again, a lot of people have said that they've had this and used this as an excuse for terrible things that they have done. Is that what is happening here? We don't know. But already there's been a few red flags. So I'm just saying, in my point of view, from what I've seen and what I've read, I'm just telling you that this might not be a clear-cut case of PPP. Okay. It is unclear if and when Lindsay Clancy, a former labor and delivery nurse at Massachusetts General Hospital, will have a 3rd murder charge filed against her. She is expected to be arraigned this week once she is released from the hospital. We are shocked and saddened to learn of this unthinkable tragedy. Okay, yep, we've heard that already. According to a report in the Boston Globe, approximately 6 months ago, Clancy posted on Facebook that she had struggled with postpartum anxiety, but said her focus on physical and mental fitness has made all the difference. I'm sorry, I will never feel sorry for anyone that takes a life of a child. Yeah, me neither. Me neither. And like I said, you guys, I really, I mean, am I the only one that thinks it's a red flag that, so, she chose to try to unalive herself by jumping out of the second story window? Can't we all agree that there are many other things that she could have done that would have done the job if she was really suicidal? All right, so let's go on to this. Okay. Now, Lindsay Clancy carried out the shocking attack while husband picked up takeout. Okay, now the Massachusetts mom accused of strangling her two young kids and trying to kill her infant allegedly carried out the shocking attempted murder suicide while her husband briefly stepped out to pick up a takeout order, a friend has claimed. Now, again, if it was as bad as the husband is claiming that it was, why did he feel comfortable enough leaving to go takeout? Now, again, he's working remotely from home. So he's there all the time so he can be there with the wife and the children and make sure that everything is fine, right? Now, this is where I question it because postpartum psychosis causes hallucinations, delusions, your judgment's not right, your thinking's not right, nothing is right. But I mean, nothing is right. So why she could have tried to do something at any point, whether he was like while he was at home, right? Because that's what it would be like. But instead, he went to go, like, he thought everything was fine. He went to go pick up food real quick. And at that exact moment, I feel like, now, again, I'm not judging and I'm not stating this as a fact, but to me, it would make sense and it sounds more realistic and more that she was like, okay, he's going out to dinner. Like, I've got this is my only opportunity to get this done. This is when he's not here. This is my opportunity to do it, you know? And I really struggle with this, you guys. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I really am struggling with this because it seems to me like she's like, okay, this is my opportunity. I've got a window of free time right now. Like, he's not here. This is, if I'm going to do it, I got to do it right now. That doesn't seem like a person with delusions or hallucinations because, like I said, he could have been in the living room and she could have been upstairs. If she was that delusional and that sick, it could have happened at any time while he was home. Because she, again, they say you're not thinking clearly, yada, yada, yada. So she wouldn't have had to wait for him to go and leave the home. It just seems very odd to me. Now, I'm going to pull up and read to you what these people have to say about postpartum psychosis. But do you guys, hold on. Um, Yeah, but it's not. See, I don't know. I don't want to say your name wrong. I don't know if it's Sema or Sima, but I'm not. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not being health. They said being healthy. We cannot understand that state of mind. It's not about understanding that state of mind. What I'm saying is, this is what people are saying about people who have PPP. So if she really had PPP, then she would have these symptoms, she would have these signs, like she wouldn't have been thinking clearly, so she wouldn't have been, when he was like, I'm going to pick up dinner, like that was her moment. That was when she was like, okay, I got to do this right now. But if she really had PPP, she wouldn't have been thinking that way. It wouldn't have mattered whether he was home or not. If she was going to do it and she had this delusion, then she was going to do it whether he was there or not, right? But she waited until he left the home to do this. That's what I'm saying. You should be in my book. I'm reading about women who are okay. So let's check this. Let's check this thing out here. Was it NBC? I think so. Mace?
Yeah.
Sorry, I gotta mute myself.
Postpartum psychosis that many of us had never heard of. We do know that mental health can vary significantly once a baby's born. It can be the happiest time in a woman's life, or it can be the darkest. Dr. Malika Marshall joins me now. And doctor, some degree of depression, some degree of baby blues, that's not uncommon.
No, it's actually quite common. I experienced it with after the birth of one of my children. Many women sort of experience this postpartum blues, or what's often known as baby blues after giving birth, which really is a mild form of postpartum depression. It usually occurs within a few days of giving birth, and it's often written off as the normal stress associated with taking care of a newborn. Moms may be moody, they might have trouble sleeping or focusing, or have frequent crying spells. Baby blues usually goes away within a couple of weeks, but if the symptoms are more severe and last for more than 2 weeks, it then becomes postpartum depression. The mom may feel incredibly anxious, irritable, angry. She may feel overwhelmed or racked with guilt. She may feel like she's a failure as a parent and actually have difficulty taking care of her baby. Now, postpartum depression can be treated with therapy and medication, but then there is a worse form.
Right, and that's what we're talking about today. So postpartum psychosis, what is that?
So postpartum psychosis is much less common than postpartum blues or postpartum depression, occurring in only 1 to 2 out of every 1,000 births. And it's incredibly dangerous. It really is an emergency. It usually appears within 2 weeks of childbirth, and women often experience hallucinations. They may hear voices or see things that aren't there, delusions or false beliefs, disorganized thoughts, confusion, and really bizarre behaviors. Patients may be suicidal or have thoughts of harming others, including their own children, especially the newborn. Many women with postpartum psychosis are eventually diagnosed with an underlying psychiatric disorder, such as bipolar disorder. But what happened in Duxbury is so horrific and so sad. I think a lot of people are probably wondering what they can do to try to identify someone who might be at risk.
Right. Well, I mean, that's it. I mean, I think so many of us today are trying to get our heads around this and just try to comprehend the incomprehensible. So what can be done?
So first of all women really should be screened for postpartum depression, both during pregnancy and in the postpartum period, asking questions like, how are you feeling? And have you ever had thoughts about harming your baby? Now, those with a family history of mental illness or previous episodes of postpartum depression or psychosis are at higher risk of having it again with subsequent pregnancies, and they really should seek treatment before symptoms begin. Once it sets in, postpartum psychosis really is considered a medical emergency. These patients should not be left alone with their children and usually need to be hospitalized for specialized psychiatric treatment.
All right. Thank you so much, doctor.
You're welcome.
And if you know someone, or if you are struggling, there is help. There is someone available to talk with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just call 988.
Exactly. Now, why she didn't go to the store to pick up the food? Why did he feel that he could leave to go pick up the food? I mean, it's so hard for me, you guys. Okay, now let's go into this next article about postpartum psychosis. Now, postpartum psychosis occurs in approximately 1 to 2 out of every 1,000 deliveries, or approximately 0.1 to 0.2% of births. The onset is usually sudden, most often within the first 2 weeks of postpartum, but can appear anytime in the first year. Now, these are the symptoms of postpartum psychosis: delusions or strange beliefs, hallucinations, feeling very irritated, hyperactivity, decreased need for or inability to sleep, paranoia and suspiciousness, rapid mood swings, difficulty communicating at times. Now, again, if she had this postpartum psychosis, these are the things that she would have been feeling more often than not, right? So again, she would have not been able to think clearly on, okay, I'm going to wait until he goes to pick up the food and then I'm going to do this, right? But that's exactly what she did. She never attempted to try to harm the children while he was home in the last 8 months, right? Never once. So I just find it very odd that the one, when he decides to leave her to go pick up food, she's like, this is my shot right now. I got to do it right now. And then I'm going to jump out the second story window to try to make it look like I tried to kill myself. Even though, like I've said numerous times already in this live, that jumping out of the second story window, there's a very good chance you're going to survive that fall. So it's going to make it look good. But you're not actually going, well, there's a really good chance you're not going to die. The most significant risk factors for postpartum psychosis are a personal or family history of bipolar disorder or a previous psychotic episode, which has not been reported in her case at all. Of the women who develop a postpartum psychosis, research has suggested that there is approximately a 5% suicide rate and a 4% infanticide rate associated with the illness. This is because the women experience psychosis experience a break from reality. In her psychotic state, the delusions and beliefs make sense to her. They feel very real to her and are often religious. Immediate treatment for a woman going through psychosis is imperative. Again, she was never, it's being said that she was going to therapy 5 days a week, but she was never admitted into a facility to get help for this, which, if it's as bad as they are saying that it is, that they are claiming that it is, she should have been removed from her home, kept away from her children, and put into this facility to get help. It is also important to know that many survivors of postpartum psychosis never experience delusions containing violent commands. Delusions take many forms, and not all of them are destructive. The majority of women who experience postpartum psychosis do not harm themselves or anyone else. However, there is always the risk of danger because psychosis includes delusional thinking and irrational judgment. And this is why women with this illness must be quickly assessed, treated, and carefully monitored by a trained healthcare mental health professional. Postpartum psychosis is temporary and treatable with professional help, but it is an emergency and it is essential that you receive immediate help. Now, her son just turned 8 months old, so it's been 8 months since she had her child. She worked as a labor and delivery nurse at a hospital, surrounded by healthcare professionals every day. Her husband was around her every day. How did people not see that? And I can look at this logically, and I can say this too. I'm not a one-sided person. So I can look at this and be like, listen, the husband, he was like, I'll stay home from work. I'll work remotely. I can handle this. I can watch her. Because he loves her, right? He doesn't want to put her in a mental institution. He doesn't want to remove her from the home. So he's looking at it going, listen, I can take care of it. I'll work from home. I'll be there 24/7. I will make sure that I help her. I will make sure my children stay safe. I will make sure nothing happens. So I can see from his point of view where he's coming. I can look at it from that point of view, like as to why he didn't have her removed from the home. I can look at it like he loved her. He thought he could handle this on his own. If this is actually the case, right? But I can't accept that for everybody else in her life. Because there should have been somebody that saw all of these signs and were like, hey, something has to be done. Whether it be her father, her mother, his father, anybody. It is also, oh, okay. Sorry, I just read that part. Postpartum psychosis is temporary and treatable with professional help, but it is an emergency and it is essential that you receive immediate help. If you feel you or someone you know may be suffering from this illness, know that it is not your fault and you are not to blame. Call your doctor or an emergency crisis hotline right away so that you can get the help you need. There's online support groups, and then it just lists a bunch of places you can go for help. So let me read this out loud. You are not alone and you are not to blame. Help is available. You will get better. Anybody that knows anybody that may be suffering from PPD, postpartum depression, or PPP, postpartum psychosis, call this helpline at 1-800-944-4773. Again, the number is 1-800-944-4773. All right, Glitched. Have a good day. So, I just want you guys to understand where I'm coming from. I wanted to bring this story to light because it's not always it's not always what we're told that it is. Now, again, she could very well have this, but if she does, then people really screwed up here. People in her life really screwed up. Now, if she doesn't and she's just using this as an excuse for what she did, because listen, we can say it all the time. Parents, there have been parents that have been known that have unalived their children. There's just sick people in the world like that. That have tried to use excuses like postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis, postpartum paranoia. All of that has been used as a defense or as an excuse for the bad actions that they had done. I know Mom First always said, why didn't they get the food delivered? Like, I am literally questioning everything just from everything that I've read to you. I have told you every time that I've gotten a red flag. Now, could I could just be I'm just a very skeptical person. That could be it. But I don't believe that it is because others can understand what I'm saying. And they're like, yeah, I get why I get why you're thinking that. I get why you're saying what you're saying. There's just so many things here. Why did he go to get the food? Why didn't she go get the food? Why didn't you have the food delivered? There's so many things here. If she was going to try to unalive herself, why jump out the second story window? Why not go down to the kitchen and grab, a whole bottle of pills? Or why not go grab a knife? Or why not? I mean, there's so many other ways that if she actually wanted to kill herself, she could have done it. She did end her children's life. She strangled her children to death and then said, okay, now I'm going to go attempt to kill myself by jumping out of the second story window. So, you know what I'm saying here? Like, how do you go from deranged, delusional, strangling your children to death to not finding a permanent way to take your own life? You know what I'm saying? Why would it go like that? All right, now let me pull this up. Oh shit, I'm on the wrong page. Okay. Okay. Duxbury mother Lindsay Clancy's husband says he forgives his wife, accused of killing their 3 children. Patrick Clancy, whose wife is accused of killing the Duxbury couple's 3 young children before attempting to take her own life, released a message Friday describing the children he called the essence of my life and asking for people to forgive his wife as I have. Lindsay, okay, we already know all that. Let's get to him. Patrick Clancy called police Tuesday, January 24th, after he returned to the couple's Duxbury home and reported an attempted suicide by his wife. First responders found the 3 children unconscious and traumatically injured. Cora and Dawson Clancy were brought to the hospital where medics pronounced both children dead. The 8-month-old was flown to Children's Hospital in Boston. All right. On Saturday, Matthew Glazer, an extended family member who created a GoFundMe for the family, posted a message from Patrick Clancy in which he lovingly described the couple's 3 children, acknowledged his wife had a condition that had worsened as time went on, and asked the public to forgive her as he had. Here is the full statement from Patrick Clancy. Thank you all for your love and support. The warmth I've received from the community is palpable, and your generosity gives me hope that I can focus on some sort of healing. I've seen all of your messages and contributions, including some from people I haven't seen in over a decade and many I've never met. I see and appreciate every one of you. A lot of people have said they can't imagine, and they're right. There's absolutely nothing that can prepare you. The shock and pain is excruciating and relentless. I'm constantly reminded of them, and with the little sleep that I get, I dream about them on repeat. Any parent knows it's impossible to understand how much you will love your kids until you don't have them. The same goes for understanding the devastation of losing them. Cora, Dawson, and Callan were the essence of my life, and I'm completely lost without them. My family was the best thing that ever happened to me. I took so much pride in being Lindsay's husband and a dad to Cora, Dawson, and Callan. I always reminded myself that each day with them was a new gift. Callan usually woke up first and would rest his head on my shoulder for a few minutes as he adjusted to morning. Dawson typically sang or spoke his thoughts out loud for a while before we'd go get him. Cora was a big girl and would simply walk downstairs. I can still vividly picture her coming into the living room each morning with her hair in a mess, a smile on her face. We always started our days together reading books, cuddling up on the couch, and playing with magnet tiles. I loved taking them places, whether it was scooting at Chandler Elementary, vacation, skiing, out on the boat, or at a Duxbury beach. One of our favorite places on earth. They gave me purpose, and I never took it for granted. There is now a massive void where that purpose once was. Cora had an infectious laugh and was stunningly beautiful. She was the cautious one, but it was really because she was so caring. She used to say she wanted to be a doctor and a mama when she grew up, and she would practice by giving Callan checkups. If she was leaving the house to go somewhere, she would pick someone to take care of Caroline and Charlotte, her baby dolls. She had all the doll accessories available, so her sitters were very well equipped. Before she turned 2, she was already wrapping them in perfect swaddles. We would tell her she's such a good little mama. She loved all babies, both real and pretend. She loved sloths, unicorns, tea parties, going to lunch with Nana and Grandpa, and giving presents to people. She knew everything about princesses, her favorite being Sophia the First. She truly loved her brothers and us, and said it often in her sweet voice. We did a lot of father-daughter activities together, like skiing and visiting San Francisco or just talking. I loved her, my firstborn, so much. Dawson had beautiful, bold brown eyes that beamed with friendship. He was naturally humorous and generous beyond the norm of a typical toddler, always willing to share his toys with others. For all the love he received, he always gave back more. His best quality was his pure kindness. He loved trucks, tractors, dinosaurs, Paw Patrol, worker guys, and being outside. He was adventurous and mischievous and enjoyed causing trouble, which he typically found hilarious. He was also remarkably smart. We always said if we didn't save enough for retirement, it'll be okay. We'll just live in Dawson's guest house. He would hug me tighter than most adults, and every night he told me in consistent words at bedtime without fail, "Good night, Dada, I love you." We had a special bond from day one. He was my buddy, my first boy, and truly a gift. Callan was our easygoing child. I always said it was because he was the third child. He had to adapt, and he did easily. He was born with hardly any fuss and was by far our best sleeper. He was just an incredibly happy and vibrant baby, constantly smiling. Our nickname for him was Happy Callan. He was sitting on his own, and you could tell he was enjoying his growing independence as he would grab any object within reach. Sometimes he joined my Microsoft calls in the background, playing in his jumpy. I would keep my camera on, too proud to leave it off. He started saying "Dada" whenever I walked into the room. The last moment we had together was our routine. I would come up from my office at the end of the day and swing him between my legs while he laughed and smiled. If I was ever having a bad day, Callan always knew how to heal me. Perhaps that's why he held on a little longer, to spare me whatever pain he could. As excruciating as it was, I was fortunate and grateful to feel his warmth until his very last moment. Faith is my only hope of believing he felt mine. Callan died with enormous courage despite being so little. Maybe it was his way of demonstrating what I need to do to press forward. I'll always try to draw inspiration from him. He'll always be my little hero. Now, I mean, that I almost just started crying reading like that. That is so sad. It's all about his children and how do you forgive the person that took them from you? You know, like it's heart wrenching. I can't even, like, I struggled to not start bawling as I was reading that. All right. I just don't understand that. I mean, he obviously had this huge love for his children. They were his everything. They're gone, and I feel so badly for this father. He will never, ever be the same. But she took the love and the light out of your life. How do you forgive that days after it happens? How do you ask the world to forgive that? Now let's go on to see what he had to say about Lindsay. I want to share some thoughts about Lindsay. She's recently been portrayed largely by people who have never met her and never knew who the real Lindsay was. Our marriage was wonderful and grew stronger as her condition rapidly worsened. I took as much pride in being her husband as I did in being a father and felt persistently lucky to have her in my life. I still remember the very moment I first laid eyes on her, and I can recall how overcome I was with the kind of love at first sight you only see in movies. It really didn't take long before I was certain I wanted to marry her. We said "I love you" to each other multiple times daily, as if it were a reflex. We habitually started every morning with a passionate hug, yielding a sigh of relief like we had each received the perfect medicine. If too much time passed without a hug, she'd look at me and ask, "Did you forget?" We mutually understood the reality that people can have bad days, but we stuck to the rule that when one of us got lost, the other was always there to bring them home. Always. She loved being a nurse, but nothing matched her intense love for our kids and dedication to being a mother. It was all she ever wanted. Her passion taught me how to be a better father. I want to ask all of you that you find it deep within yourselves to forgive Lindsay as I have. The real Lindsay was generously loving and caring towards everyone, me, our kids, family, friends, and her patients. The very fibers of our soul are loving. All I wish for her now is that she can somehow find peace. Now, I don't think she'll ever find peace, and I don't think he'll ever find peace. I don't think there will ever be peace. Now, this happened on the 24th. So 5 days ago, this happened. This tragic, tragic thing happened 5 days ago. Okay. Now, again, I know everybody grieves differently, and I'm not judging, but I am going to say that if this was me and I was this father, after 5 days, I don't think I'd be even talking to anybody. Like, I would still be in this state of it's everything, it's over. Like, it's everything. My whole life is gone. I'd be so devastated. So, like, I don't even think I could put into words to say this to somebody, to put this statement out. I don't think I would be in a state to do that. I mean, the way he described his children was so beautiful, right? Nobody will ever recover from this. But at the same time, it's 5 days ago you lost your kids and your wife, right? She's not dead, but she's not, who knows what's going to happen to her. But she'll never be the same. She will never be at peace, and he will never be the same, and he will never be at peace. How could they be ever? I mean, and I get a lot of people, listen, forgiveness is a huge thing, and forgiveness honestly holds a lot of people back from moving on with their life but at the same time, 5 days, you already forgave her 5 days after all your children are gone. They're never coming back. I think I would be a fucking basket case. I'm sorry. I'm really trying not to cuss because, but I'm really trying not to, but I think that seems so soon and so sudden to me. Hey, who know maybe he didn't leave to get food when he said. Maybe he did it and tried to blame the wife who was already sick. We don't know. Yeah, we don't know. But I find it very odd that if it did go down, like they're telling us that it went down, then I've got a lot of red flags here. And there's something very, very wrong. Because I don't buy it. I don't, and it's not that I'm just being a jerk, but again, I've just seen so many red flags, and I'm not going to keep going over them and over them. I've told you guys what I think that they are. But, all we can go off of is what we have been told and what what is out there. Now, it could be, people in the chat are saying, well, maybe the husband did it. And, because his wife is sick, he's blaming the wife. That's always a possibility because we don't know we don't know. That is a possibility. But I believe there's definitely a lot more to this story. I believe that we're not getting the full truth. There's just no reason for this, like there's so many things here that don't make sense that if it's true, the story that they're telling us, if that is 100% true, then there's a whole lot of things here that don't make any sense. And there's a whole lot of things here that went wrong that should have never went wrong, because she shouldn't have been allowed in that position to be home alone with her children. You know? So, I mean, not for nothing, I'm just bringing this to you guys. This is a sad freaking story, but the victims here are the children. They are the victims of all of this. So I'm definitely going to keep you guys up to date on this story. I'm definitely going to stay on it. Anything that comes up, I will bring it to you guys. But I do have another video that another live that I want to come out and do later. I don't know if it'll be a live or if it'll be an upload, but I do have another video or live that I want to put out. Oh, thank you, Sifa. Please help support the CNY family and hit that like button. It doesn't cost a thing. Thank you so much. But yeah, I have another, that I want to go over and talk about. So I will be doing that later today. Yeah, you guys are awesome. We have the best chats over here. You guys are just awesome. We're open-minded people. We can all say our piece and nobody gets mad about it. So I think it's going to be later this afternoon. I will make a community post, letting you guys know what time for sure. But I really, I think this is an important story, and I wanted to bring it to you guys so we could at least discuss it and discuss the possibilities. If that was me, I would not forgive the person that killed my children. I believe I would take that person's life. My children are my life. And Charlotte, I feel the same way. I really do, because so it's said that the dad, when he got home, he found the wife obviously on the ground and called 911. Now, his children were found by the cops once the cops got there. So once you found your wife on the ground, listen, would your first thing not be, oh my God, I got to go check on my kids? Right? Like, your wife is laying on the ground, but shit, wouldn't it pop into your head that, oh my God, I got to go check on my children? But no, he did not. He called 911, stayed with his wife until 911 got there. And then the cops went in and found his children. So that to me is a very odd thing. And that to me is one of the things that makes me feel like this was a planned thing. And again, I'm not saying that it was, but there's so many things here, you guys. I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying to look at it from each side. Karma said, in my opinion, he knew his kids were dead in the house. That could be. That could totally be. Yes, if anybody has anything that they want to send to me, you can send it to my email. Sifa put it in the chat. Yeah, the cops found his kids. So he came home, saw his wife on the ground, called 911, stayed by her side, and according to the story, never went inside to check on his kids, and 911 got there, and then they went inside. So that's a little odd to me. I would like to believe that this was just a horrible accident and she was sick and didn't know, and nobody knew that this was going to happen, but I don't see that here. I wish I did, guys. I wish I did. I don't like having to I don't like having to be skeptical and to question everything. But when you see red flags and you see shit that doesn't make sense, then say something about it. Then let's discuss it, right? I'm like, okay, I see all these things that don't make sense. I'm going to do a live on this. I'm going to talk to my people about this. We're going to have an actual discussion about this. And then, so I can say, well, listen, I'm not in the, I'm not crazy because other people see what I'm saying. Other people see these same red flags. Right. Your first instinct, I feel like, you see your wife on the ground, right? You okay, you go up to her, but I feel like right at that moment it would have popped into your head, go check on your kids, right? Where are my kids? That would have been my thing. I would never have waited until 911 got there to go and check on my children. Exactly, sugar. Like, your children should have been your first thought. That's how I think, I mean, your spouse is your spouse, but your children are you. They are you. They are your children. They are from you. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh. Sifa, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. You will never find a more passionate channel than this one right here. So please hit that like and share her channel. Thank you so much. You are the best. All right, you guys. So, I mean, I hope this like helped. I mean, not helped because it really didn't. What did it help? It didn't help anything. But I hope that this maybe could shed a little bit of light on, or maybe you see it in a different way, or maybe, we can look at this thing and step back and say, wait, let's really look at this. Let's look at the stuff that doesn't make sense. Let's look at the shit that should have never happened in the first place. And let's look at the story that we're being told, So I love you guys. I will make a community post later about when I'm going to do another live. It will be tonight sometime. This has been mind opening as always. Well, thank you. So yeah, I'll make a community post. I do want to do another video later, so keep an eye out for that. Anybody with any information or you want to send me anything, you can send it into my email, thecnyfamily@gmail.com, or you can DM me on Twitter. Also, please hit that thumbs up. Please sub to the channel. It's free. It helps out the channel. It keeps us growing, and it keeps our videos being recommended so they go to new viewers. And please, even if you've been in this chat and commented, I'm going to ask you guys to please come back and leave a comment in the comment section of the video. That really helps the channel. Okay. It shows that people want to interact with your channel. So that really helps them, YouTube, with like recommending it to new people. So I hope you guys have an awesome day. Anybody who wants to donate, the links are all down in the description below. I love you guys. Thank you, Sifa. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sugar, Princess, CY. Thank you to all my mods. You guys are awesome. I love you guys. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay safe. Keep asking those hard questions and keep spreading that light. I love you guys. Have a good day.